Detroit, and you know what that means. Detroit media icon Ryan Ermanni, University of Michigan great Braylon Edwards, and of course, Maz are about to take over on Woodward Sports. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m., it's the best Detroit sports talk on Detroit's best sports network, Woodward Sports.
Hey guys, welcome on in Woodward Sports. It's Ermanni and Edwards and myself, Tom Mazaway. We got our cast of thousands here, of course, as usual. Ryan's out today, and Braylon is over at the Rocket Mortgage, which is probably going to be a fun time. Beautiful day to be on a golf course today. I got my man Anson Wells in the house. Anson, it's been too long, my friend.
Way too long. Way too long.
Where you been?
I was out at Electric Forest with...
Would you get lost in the forest?
You're supposed to at least once that weekend. I certainly did. I was lost looking for our friend Korean Jesus out there, but he was hard to find. We'll leave it at that.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, I tried to meet up with this guy on Sunday, and he's telling me, hey, come to this stage. I go to that stage for like 45 minutes. Oh, I went to this other stage. I went over there. I've posted up at this easy-to-find spot, but somebody was maybe a little lost in the sauce.
Justin, man, what happened, man? You were supposed to meet Anson. Did you have a good time? I
had an amazing time. I did really wish I could see Anson. That was literally the only negative about the entire weekend was I did not get to see Anson. And it was also partially because the rest of Sunday got rained out, and I was also planning on meeting up with him at the afters, which I bet were epic. Did you end up seeing that big, gigantic Enzo?
I did.
You did? Oh, how was that?
It was good for 45 minutes until they cut it.
They cut it? Oh, that's so disappointing. But yeah, I had an awesome time, an absolute blast. My first Forest, and Anson gave me some great tips going into it, which definitely helped me have a great weekend.
Cool, man. We got Joel in the booth today. Joel in the sound booth. Joel, were you at the Forest as well? Have you ever been? Do you want to go?
I was not. I probably will never be, and I do not want to go. So it's not my forte. But
it's not your forte.
Oh, he wants to go.
I can see how it's fun.
He does want to go. He just doesn't know yet.
I
took my mother for her 70th birthday in 2020. In 2018.
God bless her.
That's awesome.
And she loved it. Absolutely loved it.
I guess if you like getting smashed by a million people, I guess you like that kind of thing.
But that's the thing. It's like when people thought about the NFL draft. I don't want to go down there. It's so packed. But that's not the deal. You can go into the packed area, or you can just enjoy all of it. There is something at Electric Forest for everybody. There's hippie jam bands and funky stuff. There's trading posts. I saw a bunch of kids there. I saw probably 4 or 5 infants with their family there.
That's great. Great way to break in those kids.
That's absolutely right, my friend.
I know Prickly Pete wasn't there. Pete, were you at Electric Forest? There you go. Pete, of course, an alum from Bowling Green. What's the odds on women versus men? What is it? 3-1 girls to guys.
Wow.
I guess it's a teaching college, right?
This is where Roethlisberger came from, isn't it?
No, Miami of Ohio.
Miami, Ohio.
Those are close, though, right?
The Ivy League of the Midwest, as they call it, because it looks
whose
like...
wife was that got all hype about going to Miami of Ohio, and she thought she was going to Miami? Somebody transferred, and it was his wife.
Yeah, and she sold all her coats and like gave them all away, and then she was like, "Oh,
oops. Miami of Ohio."
Oh, the girl from Hawaii. She was from Hawaii, I think, or some like warm state.
Did not know her geography.
Hey guys, welcome into the show. Hey, we got a lot going on here for a down kind of sports period. NBA draft in the books. Finally, they did the 2-day one. Pistons got 2 guys. Hopefully, they're going to be good. Kool-Aid's down at the practice facility right now because my man Ron down there, what's his name? Ron Holland, the second. Sir. They're introducing him. And then last night, they got a kid from Sweden who played in Australia. His name is Bobby Klintman. What do you guys know about Bobby Klintman?
Well, he played a year of college before going back overseas to play. He's a project. He's a long guy that can affect the rim, but he also has a semblance of an outside shot. Somebody that should be able to extend our offense and extend opposing defenses. But, we really did get 3 guys. We had 2 picks going in over these last 2 days. Obviously, we took Ron Holland at number 5 and made a move to get this Klintman. But we also moved our late pick in the second round to go get Wendell Moore, who's going into his third-year deal. Listen, the Pistons are going to be, as Trajan Langdon said, basically a wasteland.
Correct.
For
contracts.
Of contracts. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're going to be seeing guys that are going to be kind of locked into 1-2 year deals that are going to be brought on, and hopefully we can acquire additional draft picks.
Yeah.
We also got another guy in the last 24 hours, too. I'm sure that we're going to get into that.
Tim Hardaway Jr. comes on over. Come on down. You just went to the NBA Finals. Now you're going to purgatory.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yep.
Poor Tim Hardaway Jr. comes over here to Detroit from the Dallas Mavericks. We also get a second-round pick, two second-round picks. And from what I'm understanding, what I'm reading is, obviously, he'll be a trade piece at the deadline. They want to turn those number 2 picks into some number 1 picks. Now, the NBA it's completely out of hand where all these picks going everywhere. Remember when Oklahoma City had like 25 picks at one time? And I don't know how they do it, but they turned that team into a championship contending team. We can only pray that the Pistons can get there eventually, because right now they are less, to me, worse than an expansion team.
Yeah, and you talk about OKC Thunder. This is a team on the precipice of a dynasty. What they've done is they didn't settle for just a player to build around. They kept moving assets. They went out and got an SGA, and they still have a lot more draft capital. They have one of the best trios of young players in the NBA, hands down, but they are built right. They've got a bunch of guys that like to contribute in defense. They've got outside shooters, and again, they've got a tremendous amount of capital. So this is a team that is one player away from in my opinion, absolutely dominating the NBA for the rest of this.
They were the
decade.
number 1 seed in the West this year. And what's the two things that have the Pistons and the Oklahoma City Thunder? What do they have in common? Do you know what they have in common?
Well, it's not Troy Weaver.
Yeah, they both fired Troy Weaver.
Okay, so they do have that in common.
So I'm going to pray that in a few years, the Pistons can be up there in the East. So that's what I'm going with, man.
Okay.
I mean, I got nothing else. Yesterday, Ryan Ermanni's on the show, and he brought this up, and I want to hear from you guys, too. Justin, Joel, hear from you guys. Matter of fact, we'll open the phone lines. We're going to talk to everyone today.
Biggins.
313-552-6322. Give Joel a call. He'll put you on hold. Whoever wants to call in today, we got open forum today. But what I want to say yesterday, Ryan Ermanni said what the Pistons should have done with their 35th pick or 37th pick, whatever that pick was in the second round, was to draft LeBron James Jr.
100%.
You know him as Bronny James. And hold him captive.
That's right.
And hold him for kidnapping.
That's right.
Because yesterday, Rich Paul and his gang over, agents run the league, right? We all know that. He told everyone in the NBA, do not draft Bronny James. If you do, he will go and play in Australia. So he puts that edict out there, and the kid slips all the way through, like we said, number 55. Matter of fact, let's go to the tape and welcome him in.
With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James from the University of Southern California.
There he is. Congratulations. There's LeBron James Jr. and his family. Finally welcome in. You heard his name called. The next audio you're going to hear is from Rob Pelinka calling Bronny just moments before this.
Bronny, you got Rob Pelinka here, Coach Reddick. I think first and foremost, you've worked incredibly hard, man. You've put in a ton of work. And, when we had lunch up at the facility for your workout, we talked about your work ethic, and that means a lot to us. I think second to that, you're a player of high character and a person of high character, and that is valued at the Lakers. And so it's important for Coach Reddick and I to let you know those qualities really stand out. And so the Lakers are going to draft you with the 55th pick in the draft, and I just wanted to let you know.
Bronny, this is JJ. I just wanted to say congrats, man. Your hard work's paid off. You're going to have a long NBA career, and I can't wait to coach you, man. Congrats.
We'll see you soon, Bronny. The work begins. All right. With the 55th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Los Angeles Lakers select Bronny James.
Got it. Confirming Bronny James. Great.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Rob.
All right.
Yep.
That's how it happens, folks. Rob Pelinka calls NBA headquarters. You heard what he said, and you saw the charade. Anson?
Maz, was that not the most patronizing draft call to a prospect you've ever heard? Well, you've worked really hard. Every single kid that's on a sheet that could be picked over the last 2 days has worked his butt off his entire life, his entire career. But this was a foregone conclusion. I love your take. I love Ermanni's take. We're Detroit. We don't like LeBron. Throw a fly in that ointment. Force him to give you 2-3 second-round picks. Do something. Listen, he's not the GOAT, but he is the king. He has a stranglehold on this league, both domestically and internationally. And the fact that this guy can just basically go out and dictate what the Lakers do, front office moves, what they do on their roster, what other teams do, and who they can draft, hogwash. I'm so tired of the king treatment. This would have been great payback, even though in a small dose, for the Pistons to just not make things easy for the Lakers and the James clan.
This is why I've never liked LeBron James, and I'll continue to never like him. I just don't like what it's done, but it makes me angry at the NBA too. This is a game I used to really love. I still love it, but I'm angry. I'm sick and tired of it, and I cannot wait till he's gone. And that's how I felt about Tom Brady back in the day. You guys know that. I don't know what it is, but this guy, man, he just rubs me the wrong way. Justin, I want to ask you your opinion. You're a young basketball fan. I know you're a huge sports fan, even though you got that Iser plan going. We'll get to that. Don't worry. But what's your take on this whole, I call it a charade?
It's a total charade. I think it's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen in my life, honestly. Like, I don't even understand how it can even have sports credibility. It is so clown.
Why don't they just give him an ESPY while they're at it? Make an award and give it a father-son ESPY.
Exactly. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then Rich Paul forcing him to the Lakers is even more ridiculous. He shouldn't even be picked in this draft.
No.
He should have went undrafted. See, if you're telling me that he would have went undrafted and then signed with the Lakers,
that's different.
Sure.
That's different.
But telling teams to specifically not draft him and then just drafting him pretty much using a pick that should have went to someone more deserving. It's just not the move.
Now Woj goes on and he says, "Listen, this happens all the time in the NBA. LeBron's not the only one that pulls this charade.
Sure.
Just to let you know, they'll be the fourth father-son to play in a major sports. The first one were the Howe brothers, play with their dad Gordy with the Hartford Whalers. After that, it was the Griffeys. They met in Seattle. Griffey Sr. and Griffey Jr. Matter of fact, they hit back-to-back home runs in one game. And lastly was Tim Raines and his son, Tim Raines Jr. That was on a lesser plateau in baseball. Tim Raines Jr. barely made it to the majors, but he made it to play with his dad. So now LeBron and son will play together. And now this is what I hear. Who's the next son again?
Bryce. He actually has game.
He's 2 years away, right?
Yes,
he's got game.
Yeah,
well, he's 2 years away.
Going into his senior season in high school. Good numbers, but he's still playing on the bench.
Okay.
But this is a kid that's going to be 6'9", maybe even 6'10", not the physical specimen that LeBron is, but
he could become that.
I think that Bryce has a great opportunity to be a first-round pick. Now, I'm not mad at the Bronny LeBron thing. Like, I'd love to throw that fly in the ointment, especially here in Detroit, but people say that Bronny had no business being drafted. Now, if you take away his whole heart attack and you give him a full season at USC, the kid was solid. He came back in halfway through the year, not much conditioning, not much understanding of how to play within the team scheme. But there's only 4 freshmen last year that with 500 minutes or more had 100 points, 50 boards, and 50 rebounds. Bronny can shoot, he can play, and he's a highly cerebral player. I am a massive fan, even though it's the James gang. I like both the kids. I'm not a LeBron guy. I love this for the NBA. I love that those two, I mean, LeBron's been saying it for a few years. He's going to play with at least Bronny. I think he sticks around to play with all three, and he'll hold the league hostage again. He'll make sure that Bryce ends up on the same team with him. But I like it. This is something that we've never seen. It's going to be super hard for us to see ever again because guys in basketball just don't play until they're 40, the time that their kid is getting out of college.
It just bugs the hell out of me. I don't know why. Well, I do know. I just don't like LeBron. I don't like his charades. I don't like all the crap he's pulled his entire career. How about sticking with one team and like most of these guys do?
So we've tapped into your Papa Bear when it comes to Miss Caitlin Clark.
Yeah.
Now let's flip off the basketball fan and the anti-LeBron as a father.
Yeah.
Just looking at it from that point of view. It is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's cool.
It is.
It is. I mean, Gordie Howe hung on into his 50s. I forgot. He might have played in his 60s, Pete, did he? Did Gordie Howe last until he was 60? I mean, I think he could play now, God rest his soul. He could come out and play now. That's how great Gordie Howe was. But I thought that was cool. Obviously, Ken Griffey Sr. was barely making it team to team. The Reds cut him. Seattle signed him so he could play with Ken Griffey Jr. And they hit back-to-back home runs together. And then the Reigns father-son combination in baseball. So, look, I got no issues with that. I just don't like how it all comes down. And I don't like, to tell you the truth, that these agents run this league. I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know what? That's okay.
It's the NBA.
My Knicks are going to be ready for everyone next season. I don't care. Go ahead, Joel.
I was saying, one, I would say getting drafted or getting Bronny drafted, I would say y'all looking at it kind of wrong. More so, it's not like the Lakers drafted him with the 17th pick and he took like a spot from like a first rounder. Bronny's been always rated high amongst his class for like his whole life. So he's already been a highly regarded player. He had, like you said, the health issue with his heart, which derailed his freshman season. And he was on a terrible team. So I don't know how you really expected him to stand out on a terrible team. And I was watching a video where he was playing against the #1 pick in like one of those like USA select games, like I think it was like U19. And they were looking very similar skill set. And this was the #1 pick, and this was Bronny. So it's like, I don't see people going all up in arms about him getting drafted #1. And plus, nepotism runs the whole world. So
yeah, I know.
It's like,
you're right.
Might as well use it in your favor. And plus, at that point of the draft, too, it's ran by the agents anyway. Like, I remember watching a video where Lou Will was talking about, like, he's saying, like, once you get to, like, 54, like, the last 10 picks, he was like, if you like, have an agent that's plugged in good with teams, he was like, you'll get a spot over a player who was better than you just because you have that connection.
Well, in a few minutes, our #1 draft pick is going to talk. Ron Holland, the second, or is he the third? Ron Holland, the second? Anyway, the night he got drafted, ESPN had him on, and this is what he's bringing to Detroit.
Looking forward to the most about playing for the Pistons?
I'm looking forward to really just changing things around. I know they have a stigma on them when it comes to a lot of the losing, and I feel like I'm a huge part to be able to start to change that around. I have a willingness to win, and I feel like me going into this franchise, being able to help them out with this good group of guys, good group of young guys that they have, I'm definitely super excited to get down there and get to work.
Hey, look, I know they drafted an 18-year-old kid. They didn't talk to him, and you heard Trajan Langdon. He's like, agents wouldn't let people come here. They wouldn't let players come here and work out for us. The Pistons have been obviously blackballed here, so it's going to take them a while to get out of this. So they take this kid who's got supposedly a huge upside. Trajan Langdon knows more about basketball than I'll ever know. So he knows that. But the more I read about this kid, and I like him. I mean, give him a chance. See how he grows. He's going to grow up with all these other young guys. I hope they stay together. They find a couple of veteran pieces. They draft some good players. Maybe they get lucky in the lottery one of these years. I know they got lucky once with Cade Cunningham. Hopefully they can get lucky again and grab another player. I mean, obviously Victor would have put this team on another plateau, but we were cheated out of that. So nonetheless, I wanted Dalton Connect. And because I got to watch the kid a few times, especially at Little Caesars Arena when he was here with Tennessee and in the Final Eight, the Elite Eight. I thought he was a terrific player. SEC Player of the Year. He could shoot the lights out. Everything about him said, oh, man, Pistons should take this guy. I just want to get your opinion on him first. And would you have rather had a kid like him, or would you rather have a project like you got?
Dalton Connect.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you asked that, because I had a list of 5 guys. When you look at Alexander Sarr, who for many, many months was listed as the #1 prospect in this draft, he's never been on my top 5. He's a clone of Jalen Duren. I think that Jalen Duren had a more advanced game when we drafted him. And this is 2024. You can't have multiple guys like that on your team and expect them to get minutes. So he wasn't even in my top 5.
The UConn center? How about the UConn center?
Klingman?
Yeah.
I like Klingman.
You can't have him enduring either, right?
Now,
Together.
if I think that if Weaver was still here, Klingman's a guy that we would have gone after. I've been saying for many, many months that I thought Zachary Rissache was the best guy in this draft. He went from the 5-6 prospect on most draft boards to going number 1. Reed Sheppard is a guy that if the Pistons had him here, they could have done a multitude of things in terms of trading Ivy and possibly even exploring trades for Cade, which I don't think that we should do at this point. Now, when it comes down to Holland, the guy we ended up with, your boy Dalton Connect, and then my guy Cody Williams. Dalton Connect is a guy that can come in here and play an NBA brand of basketball immediately. He's very ready, but the Pistons are not. You also watched him slip to number 17. This is a guy that on most boards was around the top 7 or 8. So guys around the NBA weren't as high on him. He can shoot outside. He's got an NBA body, but I think that his upside is limited there. Now, when you land on Ron Holland.
But he's still a shooter, right? And he can still put the ball in that.
Absolutely.
Isn't that what you want, no matter how young or old you are?
And they said the same
100%.
things about Keegan Murray, even though Keegan Murray was a more complete prospect and was younger.
That's a very interesting comparison. I think that Keegan coming out was a better player with a higher upside. But those two are very, very similar in comparison. I want to compare Cody and Holland because, again, I've been screaming for Cody Williams, Jalen Williams' little brother, for many months. But Holland was on my list, that right around the 4 or 5 category. On Twitter, I hit up Kool-Aid when he was talking about
he was 50-1 to be drafted in the first round?
Who's that?
Holland.
Holland, 50-1.
No, that was in the top 5.
Oh, top 5.
Yeah, no, this is a guy that was going in top 10. This is a guy that has massive, massive upside. I'm going to just focus on him right now. 28+% usage. And now that's important at the G League level, because guys like Cody Williams weren't getting usage even at a place like Colorado where he thought he was going to get a high usage level. You put in a guy like Ron Holland, who is known as a high energy off-ball player who provides with his work ethic, with his speed, with his absolute high-level athleticism. You put him in that situation, you ask him to not only bring up the ball and handle it, but also to score, create shots off the dribble, and to get to the lane. None of these are his strengths. Now, when you come away with you looking at his season last year in the G League, he's got good numbers, but he's shot not at a great clip, couldn't hit the 3 very well, turned the ball over a lot, and looked like he didn't have great vision. But again, you're asking a guy to do a bunch of things that he wasn't used to doing. When he comes to Detroit, he's got a bunch of players that are going to take those responsibilities off his shoulder and allow him to be the athlete on the wing that he truly is. And he will be able to evolve into more of a distributor and a guy that can allow these next few years to let the game slow down for him and come to him. He definitely has one of the highest ceilings in the game. But when I compare him to the film I've seen on Cody Williams, I see super similar guys. Holland's a little more athletic, but Williams' just natural feel for the game and his ability to score at 3 levels is something that the Pistons just don't have outside of Cade Cunningham. And with me, I love Holland because, again, there's nobody else after that pick that I would have taken over Ron Holland aside from Cody. I just think that Ron Holland is a whole lot more of what we've been drafting over the last 10 years, with the exception of Cade Cunningham.
Okay. How much time is he going to get? How much playing time can he get on this team?
Well,
but first of all, we don't even know who the coach is.
Yeah.
It's probably the guy from Dallas.
Yeah. And that's a great question because we really don't know what we're going to do when free agency opens up next week. If we can get a strong 3 or 4, a guy like Miles Bridges or somebody else, it's going to knock him out of the starting lineup. But we're so thin right now, I don't see Asar ascending to that starting lineup. This is a guy that is very similar in the things that he can do athletically and in the high energy aspect of basketball. But I do think that his offensive game is more polished. So if the Pistons strike out in free agency to land that legit 3-4 combo player, this guy could be starting. He could be seeing 28 minutes a game.
How about around the room here, guys? What's your thought on the Pistons draft at whole? Who wants to go first?
Joel, you can kick it off.
I would say I really can't complain with the draft. Well, you really can't complain with the draft because, like many people say, who would you have rather had? And then I do have options that I would have rather had, but it's all like speculation right now. So you don't know who's going to be good. You don't know who's going to be bad. Like, we don't know. Like, in 2 years, not even 2 years from now, we could be looking at halfway through the season, like, oh, we could really see, like, a real high ceiling for Ron Holland or even Bobby Klintman. So it's like, we don't know how it's going to work out. I'm going to just, try to keep a positive mindset since this is Trajan first draft. Let them come in with a clean slate and not really try to put too much judgment on them before I really even see, like, how the players play.
All right.
I'm on the same wavelength. 2 high upside swings I cannot get mad at. Everyone hated the Sider pick when Eisman came to town. So everyone hated the Gibbs pick last year, except for some people. I just think that it's too early to tell. They took high swing upside players, and there's potential with both of them. I love the athleticism that both of them have, and Ron Holland seems like a dog, and I'm really excited about that. This team needs some dogs.
He's a good dresser.
Yeah, he's got style.
he's GQ. Pete, put up the while we're chatting. Just put up the draft recap so we can just take a look at it. Go ahead, Anson.
For a player.
It's funny you talk about how he dressed. I saw a couple things on Twitter. One guy said, "This is the first time in my life at looking at the entire draft class, I feel like I could beat all of them up."
Isn't that something? Yeah, I saw that tweet too.
Pretty ridiculous.
I saw that tweet too. Hey, a guy that got didn't get drafted but got signed was a guy I brought up yesterday. Sharpshooting Jack Gohlke from Oakland University. Now, Ryan and Braylon both told me, Maz, he's not an NBA player. He's never going to play in the NBA. But he got signed yesterday by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Does he get an opportunity to be on that team, or is it just a showcase? Congratulations, kid, for what you did in the NCAA.
Well, we might not see him in an NBA game, but what we could see, very much like Matt McClung, is him in the three-point shooting contest.
Yes, Matt McClung, of course, in the slam dunk contest,
That's right.
The king.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, right?
That's right.
Now, a guy like Gohlke, he can't. There's no possible way that he can make an NBA team with the way he shoots.
If he can continue to shoot the way that he does and develop as a ball handler to where he doesn't become a liability with the rock in his hand. Because if you watch the OU's run, the guy didn't dribble a whole lot. He's coming off screens all the time. He's a defensive liability. He's a ball handling liability. If he can shore those things up, I could see him getting a couple 10-day contracts.
Okay. Well, there you go, guys. There you go.
Shooting.
We just talked about the first 2 rounds of the NBA draft. But you know what's coming up tonight? I wish I was in Vegas tonight.
Yeah,
has anyone here been to the Sphere so far?
Not yet.
It's a new place, right? I cannot wait to go to this place, see a concert, but I would love to have been there tonight because it's round 1 of the NHL draft. Hell, I don't know who the hell's out there from pick 15 down. That's where the Red Wings are sitting. But Justin might know. So when we come back, we're going to talk a little NHL with you. And, of course, we got some NFL news as well. So keep it right here on Woodward Sports. Pete, take it away.
313-530-1698 or visit SwissINS.com. And after you're done shopping for insurance, you might as well go get yourself a good workout. Planet Fitness is the home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. We'll be right back.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supplies has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody! A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
Congratulations to the real Coach of the Year, Motor City Dan Campbell.
Just put your head down and go to work. It's about to be fun, man. It's about to be fun.
Woodward Sports.
A guy can be a guy and get a great, amazing haircut. That's Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Stop in, sit back, and relax. Let one of Lady Jane's talented stylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, you know it. It's wicked awesome. So are we on Woodward Sports. Welcome back in. It's Ermanni and Edwards and me, Tom Mazaway, Anson Wells in the house today. So is our guy Joel, and we got our man Justin in the hole as well. Pete, as usual, manning the, what do you call them? The ones and twos, as they also say back in the day. Hey, we're going to try to get you out to the Pistons practice facility before the half hour here is up. If they start their press conference on time, they're, of course, welcoming in Ron Holland.
Well played.
In Detroit. There you go. We'll find out. Kool-Aid's out there as well. We'll check in with him a little bit later. But I want to talk about the NHL Draft tonight. It's in Vegas. Vegas is the place now. And Vegas, Stanley Cup champ just 2 years ago. They were an expansion team, guys. They stocked that team, and they won an NHL championship in 2 seasons.
Had to change the expansion draft rules in order to stop that from happening for Seattle, which is kind of unfair for Seattle.
Correct.
But it did help Vegas win their first championship.
That's why I always say in the NBA, if they pull that same shenanigans with when the Sonics come back, Seattle Supersonics, they're going to have a better team than the Pistons probably within 2 years because they'll be able to cherry pick players from each team. They'll stockpile them with draft picks. That's why I'm saying the Pistons are in such a bad hole right now, but they're trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to get out of it. Tonight, the NHL Draft in the Sphere, it's supposed to be wicked great, man. And a couple of our people in the chat said they've already been there and they love it. They've seen concerts there. Feel free to call in, guys, 313-552-6322. On the clock are the San Jose Sharks. Justin, they won the lottery. They haven't been good for a while. And the Sharks are probably going to pick the kid from BU.
Yeah, Celebrini.
You want to try? Are they talking, Pete? Are they talking? Let's see. Before we talk about this.
Availability, we'll have some brief remarks from Trajan and Ron. After those remarks, I'll open it to a question and answer period. For our new president of basketball operations, It's been an extremely busy couple of weeks since he has taken over as our lead basketball decision maker. We're excited to have him with us as he begins to put his imprint on this team and the organization. Trajan, thanks for being here, and I'll turn the conference over to you.
Thanks, Kevin. And again, thanks for everybody for being here. Good afternoon. Ron, welcome to Detroit.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Also want to welcome his family, his father, Ron Sr., his mom, Tarasha, and his sister, Ty. So Mom told me that that's the best way to introduce you. So we're excited for all of you guys to be here in Detroit. When thinking about Ron and when we scouted Ron and watching a lot of tape and studying him, Ron embodies what we want all of our players to be here in the city of Detroit for our fans and for the city. Hard work, highly competitive, and a high character young man that comes from a great family. We feel he has the ability to impact both ends of the floor at a high level, and he's scary in transition. And I think all those qualities really have the ability to move our team up in the future. And it's what we're looking for from our players and what we want to add and who we have as well and develop those guys into. I think the thing, too, that really impressed me about Ron and impressed us was he knows who he is. The people that you speak about that you want to play like, you know, you're a defense-first guy, team first, you want to win, those type of things, and then you build on that as we get better in that. And those are the things that really intrigued us about adding you to our organization. And for us and for me, you becoming our first pick. So congratulations again, Ron, and welcome to Detroit.
Yes, sir. Thank you. First, I want to say I appreciate y'all for really just welcoming me. Super excited to be blessed for this opportunity and get here and help this franchise turn things around. I think me bringing my winning mindset and mentality here, I feel like he said before, is going to help this franchise out a lot, and I'm super excited and just ready to get things going.
Well, at this time, I'll open the panel to a question and answer period. To our media members here in attendance, please remember to identify yourself with name and affiliation and state who your question's for. We have some microphones floating around, and we'll take a hand raise. And with the first question, we'll go to Omari Sankofa.
Hey, Omari Sankofa II for the Detroit Free Press. Ron, welcome to Detroit. Just can you walk us through the last 24 hours? Obviously, there was a shock of going 5th overall. Just, you know, have you been welcomed by teammates, and what are your initial impressions of the franchise and city as well?
The last 24 hours has been a roller coaster of emotions. Being that I heard my name called, I was super blessed about that, and having everybody at my table that's been through throughout this whole process and journey throughout my whole life. Standing up and seeing them shed tears and just be able to be excited for me, I was super. Words couldn't even explain how emotional I was after I heard that. But I feel like I said, I'm super blessed for this opportunity. And after everything, all the media, everything calmed down. Going back there and just being able to talk to everybody that's been with me throughout this whole process. I mean, I was just super excited. And some of the teammates that I have now texting me or welcoming me here, and I can't wait to get here and just be. I'm super excited for it. I'm ready.
Mike on a minute.
Keith,
you're listening to the Pistons introductory press conference right now. Ron Holland down at the Pistons practice facility, courtesy of DetroitPistons.com.
To try to emulate. There was a lot said and written about your experience with the Ignite and how you had to step outside of that a little bit because of things that happened with the roster around you. I'm just curious, how do you feel having to spread your wings and do some of the things maybe you didn't anticipate? How did that affect your development, either positively or negatively?
I think I've been put in a bunch of different situations throughout my whole basketball career, so it wasn't new to me just being able to do something different, but it was definitely a challenge for sure. Coming out of high school, I'm stepping into the professional side of the game, and like I said, it was really challenging, but I had the right group of people around me and the right circle around me, and it wasn't hard. It wasn't easy. It took a lot for me to get through that, and I definitely grew as a player and as a man. I came a long way, but I can't wait to see where else I grow. I have a long way to go, and I feel like I'm at the spot to do it.
Ron James Edwards with The Athletic. Welcome to Detroit.
Yes, sir.
I know it's been a wild 48 hours, but between getting drafted here and right now, have you had
Can you hear
time
me?
to even learn about like the history of the franchise, teammates you weren't familiar
Hello?
with? Did you do a deep dive at all just on the place you were coming to?
I've been getting told like just really small amounts of information, but I mean, I haven't really had time to just deep dive down into that. But I mean, once I get down here and be able to get settled in, I know I'm going to learn a lot. Being that I like music a lot, I've heard a lot about the music out here. I can't wait to really experience that for sure. So, yeah, I'm super excited about that.
Ron, Corey Woods, M Live. Welcome to Detroit. On the day we talked to you after you got drafted, you said that your previous experience, specifically with the G League Ignite, prepared you for coming to a team that's trying to rebuild and turn things around. Can you elaborate on that?
Coming from Ignite, I mean, it's no secret to the world. We did a lot of losing over there, and it was kind of difficult just because of all the young players, the young talent that we had. Couldn't really figure things out, and I think it helped me really just mentally being able to, being one of the leaders on that team. I had to self-reflect a lot and really just deep dive into my game and what things I should change about myself and how to lead this team to not only victory but just taking steps in the right direction every single day, and then coming to a franchise that has similar qualities to that. I think it prepared me for that as well, just because it just simulate within each other. And I think, I mean, with the guys that's here, like it's the same thing: young talent, young minds, but really good players. And I think I'm a huge part of why this franchise is going to turn around. Just being that my winning mindset is going to be here, and I'm going to take things to the right direction.
Vince Ellis, Pistons.com, and this question is for Trajan. Trajan, you admitted when you were introduced that you still had some homework and some catching up to do when it came to this NBA draft, considering you were just hired, I guess, a month ago now.
Sure.
Speak to your comfort level making this pick. And the second question is, give us an insight into how you run a draft room, since it's really your first time as being the guy in the first chair running the thing. So anyway, that's the question I have.
All right, well, I think you guys will get to know me. You know me already. I'm a man of few words, so I don't know how I'm going to deep dive into that second question, but I can definitely attack the first one for you. Obviously, the majority of this year I was in New Orleans, so we were in the top 4 or 5 in the West the majority of the year, so I really wasn't scouting high-end talent. And I happened to see the Ignite twice and was intrigued by their high-end talent the whole year, so I watched a lot of tape because it was fun to watch. You know, these young guys running around, and I think trying to understand how these young guys will translate is always something that's fun for me and challenging for me. So I watched a ton of Ron, watched a ton of his teammates, watched a ton of G League, obviously. But my focus for the majority of the year was basically players that were 16 through 26 in the draft that we projected. And so, you know, the compressed amount of time coming here with 3-4 weeks before the draft, I kind of let my group run with it. And only, you know, I had staffing, and obviously the coaching thing came up. We were talking about free agency. We're talking about a lot of things that we had to get online and process-oriented things over the past few weeks. So it's really over the past week that I personally really had a chance to really hone in and figure out what our group was talking about. And over the past, you know, 4 or 5 days, film, intel calls, talking to our group really led me to understand that this was the guy for us.
Pistons.com for that. We got to hear Trajan Langdon. We got to hear Ron Holland II welcoming in here to Detroit. From what I take out of this is Trajan Langdon said he wasn't scouting high-end talent for a while, but he went to a couple of Ignite games and he started getting, I like this guy. I like these guys. So he started watching a lot more tape. But did he get the right guy? We'll find out. What's your take on this whole thing?
Well, it really sounds like Trajan got his guy. Again, this is a weaker draft. This 2024 draft is not what we've seen in the last few years. It's not the 2020 draft. It doesn't have a Victor Wembanyama in it. I think what's more important here is to look at our history. Our last 5 GMs, starting with Joe Dumars, his first pick, Rodney White. We all remember him.
I have a Rodney White bobblehead.
Yeah, those were pretty free. Those were pretty free. They're still pretty free. Then you got Van Gundy, who came in, didn't have a pick. He had to swap with Charlotte, and that actually worked out. They took Spencer Dinwiddie in the second round. Who
if they only kept him.
No, exactly.
Yeah, if they only
never
kept him.
really realized here. Then you go on to Stefanski, who had an opportunity to draft Michael Porter Jr., but instead he moves that pick for the most hated Piston in my lifetime, Blake Griffin.
There it is.
No, thank you. Weaver then comes in and takes Killian Hayes, and now we've got Trajan Langdon starting his tenure off with this Ron Holland. Each one of these guys has come in and put their stamp on this team. And let's be honest, none of it has worked out.
No.
None of them.
So
this guy has an opportunity. You're going back to Joe Dumars, who was an executive of the year as well as a champion as a GM, but it wasn't on the strength of his draft picks. It was what he was able to do with his networking and connections throughout the NBA to land somebody like Rasheed Wallace for a bunch of spare parts and then get some of those spare parts back. So Ron Holland is going to be the barometer for Trajan Langdon for at least his first 3 or 4 years here. It's too bad that he didn't get a draft with some real players to truly choose from, because I'm telling you, at this point on the board, I just don't think that there was more than Holland and maybe Cody Williams. Doesn't seem like he was on too many people's boards in the top 5 or top 10, should I say. So this is a guy that seems like it was a slam dunk, the only guy to be able to be picked. But again, he is going to be tied to Trajan Langdon for at least his rookie contract. And man, for the red, white, and blue, I really hope this kid pans out.
Just go around the room real quick. What are your thoughts originally, right away, on Trajan Langdon? Justin, I'll go to you first. When you see Trajan Langdon speak and you saw him draft, what's your quick take on him?
He's drafting his guys. I can respect that, to say the least. He has a track record in the Pels of drafting players like this. And, I mean, as an organizational standpoint, as we do in the city of Detroit, with Brad Holmes drafting his guys, with Steve Yzerman drafting his guys, I think that's so crucial to just at least having a vision of where they're going to take the team. And that is something that the Pistons have been lacking as an organization over the last couple of years. And I think that picking these guys on high swing upside and his guys, I think that's truly important for him to lay down this infrastructure that is non-existent here.
How about you, Pete? What's your take on Trajan Langdon?
To make the decisions. I mean, he's played a lot over in NBA Europe. If he's if he's a big shot over in NBA Europe and happens to know all the NBA talent and what they possess and what they bring, then he better start drafting the guys that he knows and the talent that he sees, because I want to know who's making the decisions over there. Which inmate is running that asylum right now? We don't have a head coach, and I think that the draft pick of Ron Holland is about as good as you're going to get with no head coach. So my point is Trajan Langdon going to be the decision maker? And if he is, then he's got to put together the team that he knows and the talent that he knows, and it's all going to come from Europe. And I don't think that a lot of people, especially here in Detroit, are going to know a lot of the guys that Trajan Langdon's going to target. So let's just see if he's going to be the decision maker.
Let's face it, this is an odd situation, Anson. I don't remember the last time I saw a team draft without a head coach. So we've got the trifecta here. I mean, we get screwed in the lottery. We get a GM president for the first time since Stan Van Gundy. No coach yet. Tom Gores paying off $65 million to say, Monty Williams, thank you for what you did, and go home to your family. And now you got this, man. It's a mess, but what's your feel on this?
Well, the last time I think that the Pistons took a guy without a coach in place, his name was Mateen Cleaves.
Oh.
That was not a Joe Dumars pick, even though he was in line to become the GM.
I didn't realize that.
That was purely very much like trading for Iverson. They were trying to fill seats. I have a question for Joel, though. Go back, throw some more Spartan love back to the Spartan here. We all wanted shooting. We all know that that's something that there's a void for outside shooting on this Pistons team, but I really thought, Joel, that Trajan Langdon was going to go out and get players in his own image. That's not who Ron Holland is. He's not an outside shooter. So he's doing something a little bit different than what I was expecting, which I thought he was going to go out and try and trade for shooters, draft shooters. So I'm curious. This breaks the mold of what I expected him to do based on who he was as a player. Do you see a difference between the two players and styles?
I would say, I guess it's just a sign of, or showing of, opposites attract. And then I would say since he's so young, I would say he probably can develop a shot. So I'm not gonna really write it off that right now his shooting numbers are bad. But it's like he's 18 years old right now, about to come in. So that's probably why they like favor a player that's younger over a player like Dalton Connect, who's like 23, because they're like, all right, he's coming in at 18, not really knowing much. We can mold him into like how we want him to be. Like he still hasn't like formed habits that are like hard to break yet, or bad habits that are hard to break yet. Like we can catch him before he gets those. We can form a shot that like will be up to NBA caliber. Since he's so young and he can develop, like really all he can do is develop from here. So it's like I'm not going to really write him off as a non-shooter right now until he shows me for a fact that he can shoot in the NBA.
Hey, I promised the phone lines. I told you guys to call in, and some of you have. 313-552-6322. We go to Joel in the control booth. Who's on the air for us here, Joel?
I think this is Freddie that's on right now.
Oh, Freddie Felt.
Yeah.
Freddie, you're on Woodward Sports. How you doing, my friend?
It's showing the volume, but I'm not hearing him. Y'all
You
hear
have to unmute him on the board.
No, he is unmuted. Or is it phone TV?
It's phone.
Freddie, you here?
Freddie, you with us? Not yet.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
see his volume,
We'll keep chatting. You let me know when you can get the phone calls on the air. But you heard that. So in the meantime, I'm going to go over to my man Justin. I promise you NHL Draft Talk. San Jose Sharks are on the clock, Justin. Who's the number one pick in the NHL Draft?
It's got to be Celebrini. He's as close as Connor Bedard in terms of prospects coming out that you could be without being that true, on that Bedard McDavid level. He's right behind there at the 1B. He's going to be a great NHL player. He showed it at BU this year. He was absolutely phenomenal all season. If you ever watched a BU game, he jumps off the tape. He looks like the most skilled, the fastest. He's even pretty mature for his age. I would expect him to be one of the few guys that is quickly in the NHL, and actually in the NHL, not in the AHL, in the NHL.
Anson, you're going to be excited because the number 2 prospect, Justin, tell this young man where the number 2 prospect is from.
The number 2 prospect?
Russia?
It's Michigan State.
Oh, the goalie?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
No, defenseman.
Defenseman.
Okay.
Yes. There's a very, very good defenseman coming out of there this year. He's pretty much a lock to go to the Hawks. They really like him. They like what he's going to get. And then right after him is a 6'7" Russian defenseman who is number 3 on the big board. He is absolutely, I can't even pronounce his name.
Yeah.
But that is a wild thing. I haven't seen a defenseman that tall since Zdeno Chara. 6'7", 220 pounds, I believe.
Wow.
An absolute load, and can still skate, which is shocking.
Yeah.
Where does he get it to go?
He's going 3. I don't. Here, let me see. Who's 3? I had it right here.
Oh, we had the draft order, but we'll put it up in a second. Joel, you got the phones worked out? Who do you got on the phone there, Joel? Is it Freddie? Fred, you're on Woodward Sports, we think. You're not on Woodward Sports. All right, Freddie.
Well, I'll stick on ice soccer while we're here. There's a guy, when we were collecting Hall of Famers, that everybody here in town thought we were going to get. We didn't. And he burned us a lot of times, and now his son is around that 10 point. We picked 15, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So do you think Tej Iginla will still be on the board for the Detroit Red Wings, and would you want him if he is?
I'd say there's a possibility. But the thing with Tej Iginla is, like you guys said, the name has to hold some weight. He comes from pedigree.
Mm-hmm.
Jerome Iginla was a long-time NHL vet,
stud,
high hockey IQ, and just arguably just such a solid NHL player for so long. What you actually look in a true draft pick when you're drafting around the 10th spot. He's a sniper. He can score the puck at ease. He's got relatively good vision. He's really good in the corners. He really can go into the corners, take pucks away from guys. He would be a perfect complement for DeBrincat on the other wing in a year or two. But the thing with Iginla is you're going to have to move up for him. I don't believe he's going to be there at 15. He's going to go around 10, 11, or 12. You're going to have to, and you're not going to have to give up a lot if you want to move up to that. But if you're going to move up to 10, I think there's other players who I'd rather take instead of Tej.
So, and Calgary picks, what, 9? Is that correct? So, so a lot of people are calling for him. Now, it's tough.
Yeah, he's gonna go to Calgary unless you're willing to give him a king's ransom to jump them.
Yeah,
because that's what Seattle's gonna ask you. They're gonna be, oh, you want Tisha Ginla, don't you?
Yeah.
You're trying to trade up right before the Flames. They're gonna want a king's ransom, and to me, Tisha isn't worth that much to give up a king's ransom for. There are a couple of guys I would give up a king's ransom for,
so
though.
I think I can stump our resident hockey expert here. I think I could even stump Mr. DMAC with this question. Do you know Jerome Iginla's full name?
Of course not.
Oh, definitely not. I did back in the day, but not currently.
Jerome Arthur Lee Adekunle Tej Jr. Elvis Iginla.
Wow.
Sleep on that name.
How about that? And he names his kid Tej.
That's right. He probably could name
I like the name
he
Tej,
could name
though.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids just on his middle name.
Isn't there an Yzerman in this draft? There's an Yzerman in this draft. No relations to Steve Yzerman, but there is an Yzerman in this draft. Red Wings sitting at 15, guys. Did we put up how many picks the Red Wings have? What do they have? They got like 4 picks coming up tonight?
I always wanted Yzerman to name one of his kids Eves.
Well,
Eves Yzerman.
I'm telling you, man, I'm looking forward to watching this thing just to see how it looks in the Sphere. So you got the Sharks, the Blackhawks, Ducks, the Blue Jackets, Montreal, and then the new Utah club. They're called the Hockey Club right now. Next year, I think they'll be called the Yeti.
I hope so.
I like the Yeti. That's my name, too.
Yeah,
I'm all over that.
I think that's got to be the one.
I think that's the one that everyone's kind of clamming for. I don't really hear a lot of like other names coming out for Utah other than people loving on the Yetis. That's what I want them to be.
I like their colors, too. I do like it. Like the Utah Jazz, color with the mountains in the back. You know they're going to do something with that. And then you got the Senators at 7th, the Kraken at 8, the Flames, we think it's Iginla, and then the New Jersey Devils, who've had a couple of number 1 picks there, Justin, but they haven't reached the pinnacle yet. They trade for Markkanen as a goaltender. He's older. They still need a goalie that they could depend on. What can the Devils do at 10?
Well, the Devils at 10 is an interesting spot because you're not going to draft a goalie there because you just traded for Markstrom. Yeah.
And they have a goalie in waiting.
Exactly. So that's off the table. You guys need depth at forward and depth at defense. And a name that's been kind of fluttering around the 10 spot, which I want the Wings to get, but I could 100% see him going here, is Liam Greentree. He's a bigger forward at 6'2", 215 pounds. He's a power forward, kind of the prototypical now big forward that you're looking for, like a Matthew Tkachuk, which you saw is how they built their roster to win the Stanley Cup. And you have Jack Hughes, who you have to protect. So that's 100% a pick that you would be looking for. Another one would be Carter Yamankuk from Calgary. He's a big body defenseman. He could really shoot it. He's blows anybody up in his path. That would be another one. And then my third, I'd say, if I can pull my list.
That's all right. It's not a biggie.
No, it's
no
right
one
here.
But me
I got
cares
it.
about the Devils anyway. So
I'm trying to give you a good analysis.
Since they had Marty Brodeur in the net, have they had a Stanley Cup since then?
No. It's all Brodeur. It's Brodeur or bust.
He was
right now.
He was a wall.
He's one of the best of all time,
no doubt.
Now I didn't get a chance to talk to you guys about the way the final finished. The Panthers gave up 3 straight games.
Man, they tried to give
and they
up
played
that whole
Monday
thing.
night. That Monday night game was very good. That third period was amazing. The way they held, and I could just tell Sergei Bobrovsky was on his game, and I really had a feeling that he was not going to give up any more goals than he did. He gave 1 breakaway up. Otherwise, I think he would have had a shutout in that one. But what's your take on the Panthers finally winning their first cup?
I love when Canada doesn't win, but I hate expansion teams winning worse.
They're 30 years old.
So, not as old as me. They didn't exist when I was a
That's an L
kid.
take.
Therefore, I am not a fan. Like seeing the Raptors win, that was double dose and no. It was Canada and an expansion
do you wish
team
the league was 20 teams big still? Like,
I have no problem with expansion teams. I have a problem with them winning championships.
Well, that's. I'm sorry, Anson. That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
The Tampa Bay Bucks won.
Yeah, but who was their owner?
The Seattle Seahawks won.
Who was the Lightning's owner?
It was Mr. Davidson.
Okay,
back
I'm
in the
okay
day.
with that because that thing came back to the D. The Stanley Cup trophy was here because of that.
He's just going to pick and choose what narrative he wants to use.
I love me some Ant-Man, but I don't ever want to see the Timberwolves win. I'm still salty at them for taking Rick Mahorn in the expansion draft.
That's fine.
You know, I was super sick seeing LeBron win a championship with the Miami Heat. That was the first time one of those expansion teams. Now, if you expanded in the 70s, I got no issue with you.
Okay.
I mean, do you know who the Buffalo Braves are?
No.
Exactly.
They're the Clippers.
Exactly. So the Clippers can win one. They never will, but I ain't mad at them if they do.
They're going to win. They got their new barn.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between relocating and expanding? That has no difference to me.
That's even more offensive unless you're the Ravens.
How about the Avalanche? They were the Quebec Nordiques.
Yeah.
Different league.
My thing, I don't know how I'm an OKC fan at this point. It's purely about the players.
That's an expansion team.
No, they're the Sonics.
No, they're the Sonics, who were an expansion team before I was born. But my issue with them,
in '69,
he's going to pick and choose.
One of the best fan bases. I love the Supersonics. I love those ugly, beautiful green jerseys.
Jack Sikma, Freddie Downtown Brown.
Sikma, but give me some Sean Kemp. Give me some Rain Man. Give me some early
Dennis
Glove before
Johnson.
he was the oven mitt. So yeah, it's surprising to me that I like OKC. A lot of it has to do with my boy J-Dub, but no,
that's fine.
I'm sorry, Justin. I am not a fan of seeing expansion teams win if they started after I was born.
That's lame.
I came home all day long. I'm watching that Game 7 and I forgot.
So you were definitely not rooting for the Vegas Golden Knights 2 years ago.
Oh, certainly.
Well,
not.
see, that's something I would say you could gripe about is because they use that sneaky little rule where the salary cap doesn't count in the playoffs, and they saved Mark Stone and then they unleashed him in the playoffs. Like that's unfair. That's ridiculous.
So you mentioned something earlier that I'm not clear on. Could you clarify for us in the chat at home exactly what the changes were in the expansion format for the draft?
Yes. So you were allowed to protect more players. That's pretty much the bottom line.
Well, how were they able to take advantage of it in a more protected draft versus what they've changed to now?
Well, they weren't protected as much in Vegas's draft.
And so now they are.
And now they are. That's why Seattle kind of wasn't able to take that big linear growth as
less guys to choose from
as Vegas was, because Vegas, hockey is such a depth-driven sport.
Sure.
And because it's a depth-driven sport, I can hear Freddie. I think.
Anything?
Yeah, I think Freddie's on air right now.
Go blue.
Freddie just hanging out.
You better bring him down right now.
Go ahead and finish your point, and we'll bring him back.
But because it's such a depth sport, and they only were able to pretty much anyone on their third line or below, you could bring in. And teams like Florida's case, Florida has first liners on their third line on a bad team.
Yeah.
And so when you build a team of a very middle of the line, second line, all four lines down, it makes it so hard to play against you. You saw it in the Oilers series. The Oilers at the end of the game were dog tired. They couldn't play with the Panthers anymore. The Panthers were deeper. They were a better team defensively, and that's what Vegas did. They built their team off defense. They brought in a goaltender the year after their expansion draft to kind of bring it all together. And that's how they were able to elevate to win a championship, because they already had the base, and then they just brought in a couple stars to kind of just finish off the perfect mix. And then now they're dealing with the after effects of it, because now they're losing their stars to contracts. The players who did emerge from that draft into breakout stars got paid elsewhere, and now you're kind of seeing Vegas kind of took a little bit of a dip, and they'll probably take a little bit more of a dip before they rise up again.
And that's super similar to what happened to the Pistons after their first championship. The deepest team in the league could only protect 8, and the number 1 pick in that expansion draft by the Timberwolves was our very own Rick Mahorn.
Right, and that ended it right there. But the T-Wolves have never won, so I guess the last laugh goes to the Pistons, right?
We got one more or two more since they came
NHL
out.
Draft tonight, 8 o'clock, ESPN if you want. Before we go to the break, if Freddie's on the line, at least let's hear from Freddie before we go to the break. Freddie, are you on Woodward Sports?
No.
Freddie, I'm like Mills Lane on a boxing match. I'm giving you a standing 8 count. 1, 2, 3. It's over. It's over. TKO. We're going to take a break. Listen, guys, I don't know if you had a chance last night to watch the heavyweights. They had Mina Kynes on. Great interview. We're going to play it for you after we take this break. Right now, you want to hear, attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy, Thursdays during Ermanni Edwards right here, where he offers top-notch injury advice. You got to trust the guy that D-Mac and Braylon trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game, performing at your best. For more information, go to visit right now, MichiganSportsandSpine.com, or call him at 248-426-9944. And of course, Premier Pet Supply, that's hands down Michigan's best pet store. Family owned and operated for over 30 years, 13 Metro Detroit locations, over 60 brands of food at the lowest prices available, and curbside delivery if you need it. They got nutritionists on call as well. Give your pet the best. Don't settle for less. It's PremierPetSupply.com.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Hamp for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out PremierPetSupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Everybody, head to shop.woodwardsports.com and pick yourself up some of the latest Detroit sports merch, including Boo Dem Kids. You got to get that t-shirt. I know I'm going to get myself one of those as well. Also grab some of the Campbell and Holmes political style t-shirt, as we are in a political year. So also head to shop.woodwardsports.com and select exactly what you want. Some of the coolest Detroit sports merch. Back to Ermanni and Edwards with Maz.
All right, Pierre, thank you very much. Welcome into Woodward Sports. Tom Mazaway alongside Anson, Wells, Joel, Justin, and Pete. We got the gang here today. Happy Friday, everybody. I don't know how many people got to watch, half the nation watched the debates last night. I didn't, but of course, I catch everything on Twitter.
The memes
and
one.
I go on Twitter, and of course, I hear everybody's opinions after that. So I think I'm well-versed on the debates, and we'll talk about it before the show is up, guys. I want to get your opinion as well. These are the guys that are going to run our country here for the next 4 years, so get everybody's opinion. But first, I know everyone loves NFL football, and we love our Lions. And yesterday, the boys, the heavyweights, came up with a big interview. They had ESPN's Mina Kimes on. They were trying heavy. You know, Easy was taking her to task on taking the Lions out of that top 5. You'll hear about it. Check it out.
Welcome
This is
back
the
to
heavyweights.
Live, WorldSports.com. I'm Easy, joined by Spinmo Rex.
What up, though?
And we are also joined by NFL Lives and ESPN's one of my favorite NFL analysts to listen to, Mina Kimes. Sorry. I apologize. Hey, I appreciate you coming on to repent for the Green Bay Packers offense comments.
I just want to set the table here. We're talking about whether the Lions are like the 4th or 5th best offense. Like, that is the debate here. So I understand that there could be some difference of opinion about the rankings, but that is very, very high. Jumping in right here, we're talking about a podcast I did, Mina Kimes Show featuring Lenny. We predicted the top 10 offenses for 2024. And yeah, the Lions, I think we ended up putting them fourth or 5th.
We finally have something good to hold on to here in Detroit, so we don't like to take any shots now, but I appreciate you joining us. And one thing you did mention too about the Lions offense and what could take it to the next level is Jameson Williams being that guy in this offense. I have high expectations for him. What are your expectations, and what would he need to do for the Lions to hit that next level?
Yeah, so part of the reason why I talked about Williams and this offense going from extremely good to potentially being top 3, top 2, whatever, is because this offense is such a load on the ground. They face a lot of single high coverage. There's opportunities downfield. It's a very efficient offense, but as you guys know, it's not a very explosive one through the air. It's explosive on the ground. But those opportunities exist. And so the point I was making on my podcast, and I think this is true, is Jameson Williams is like the answer to that. It's not a problem, but I would say that opportunity, the prospect that he was in college. He was my favorite wide receiver in that draft. I think he was so unbelievably gifted in school, and obviously he's battled some injuries since then, and suspension and whatnot. But if he can be even 80% of the guy I thought he was coming out of college, to me, that's a massive add for this offense because of how they already threaten defenses and the way that defenses have to play them.
I mean, for some of the casual viewers or casual Lions fans that are listening who may think Jared Goff is the second coming of Moses, can you kind of speak to this Detroit Lions offense and Ben Johnson and what makes it so special, even before Jameson Williams?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I mean, I think Ben Johnson's amazing. I love watching the offense, not just because of how unique it is and all of the creativity, especially on the ground, but I think as a play caller, he has such an incredible touch for sequencing, the way he sets up defenses over the course of a game, the way he figures out the concept that a singular run concept, for example, that works and then just pushes that button over and over and sort of bends defenses into submission, obviously with the help of the best offensive line in football. I think he's really, really talented, and to get him back is a massive, massive coup. I think something that he's done also that is really special is made the most out of the skill players on the roster. Like, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta are fantastic, but I do think if they had ended up with a different offensive coordinator, they wouldn't be the players that they are in Detroit. But I think Johnson has such a fine eye for how to use him with the way he uses personnel groupings and formations so creatively. It's really special.
Another weapon that Brad Holmes gave to Ben Johnson over the last year was Jahmyr Gibbs, and that pick didn't settle well with a lot of Lions fans at first, but we saw what he was capable of, and we just did our top 10 running back rankings, and he was in the top 6 of both of our lists. Is that too much, too fast, or like we saw what he can do out there?
I really liked Gibbs coming out of college, but I will say this: I thought he ran better between the tackles than I expected in the NFL. And again, obviously he's helped by the aforementioned offensive line, but that was my biggest question. Okay, yes, he's so explosive and he can catch passes and running off tackle, and when he has wide open lanes, he will turn them into explosives. But I thought he ran with a lot more physicality, frankly, than I expected. And he is more of a balanced and complete running back, I think, than maybe it would have seemed just based on his college tape. So that's just really, 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 really an impressive rookie season. Top 6, I don't know. I'd have to sit back down and think about all the backs, but that doesn't sound crazy to me off the top of my head.
I'm glad to hear somebody who covers, I guess, the entire league as a whole say that, because I do feel a bit homerish talking about this Lions team at times, because we never witnessed this stuff in our lifetimes.
I can criticize it. We can talk about the negative stuff if you want. We're really positive thus far. You know?
Yeah. How about the defense?
Yeah.
I know obviously defense has been a question mark for us. We finally addressed it with some rookies as well as a trade from a guy that's kind of been on a downtrend in his career in Carlton Davis Jr. What do you make of those secondary additions? And could you see that bolster Detroit Lions to a top 15-ish? Respectable?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think this is already an average defense because the run defense was so phenomenal. It was the pass defense that was the issue. And even if Carlton Davis isn't exactly who he was, Super Bowl season, he's still probably an upgrade for you over what you got last year, which was really ugly. I loved the Arnold pick, talked about it a lot on NFL Live, my podcast. I loved it too, because it to me was really just a perfect fit for what we know Aaron Glenn wants to do on defense. He wants to play more man coverage. He wants his corners to press. They had to back off of that because of the personnel last year. I think I might have mentioned this on live the day after, but Arnold is so big for this unit. And I think about Glenn in particular and why he was thought of as a rising star. Obviously, he's gotten head coaching interviews, but going from New Orleans, and a lot of it had to do with the work he did with Marshawn Lattimore. You guys remember, was the defensive rookie of the year in that scheme. And if he can get similar, I mean, that would be amazing. But he has a proven track record. My point is of developing young cornerbacks and getting them to play at a high level. And I think these additions should allow him to call defense a little bit closer to what he wants to do.
And that whole defense really is centered and revolves around one player, and that is our blue chip face of the defense in Aiden Hutchinson. Last year, he had a better season, especially towards the end of the year, and in the playoffs, he was getting sack after sack. What is his ceiling next year? You bring in a DJ Reader to put in the middle of that defensive line, who helped Trey Hendrickson get 17 and a half sacks. Yeah. What can Aiden Hutchinson do now that he's fully unleashed?
Well, I don't know if he's fully unleashed, guys, because I love the DJ Reader signing. I think he is one of those like NFL players' favorite play. You know what I mean? Like he's kind of like a hip. Like people who watch football are like, yeah, DJ Reader. He's like really, really good. That's a big loss for Cincinnati. He was when they signed him out from Houston. I remember thinking, oh my God, that's a really good player. And as I mentioned, this Lions run defense is already really stout, and he's very good against the run. I do feel like there's still another edge rusher away, to be honest. And so I think naturally because of that, I understand what, with Reader, and we'll see what you get out of the interior outside of him. But, Hutchinson is going to face a fair amount of double teams. He's not going to be it's not going to be as easy for him as it is for, I think, defensive lines where they have like a 1A, 1B, or like another top 15 to 20 edge rusher opposite them. But if you get even the play you got last year, that's certainly enough, given the improvements that you've made in the secondary.
Yeah, the player I truly think is unlocked in that situation is Liam McNeil, because obviously you're going to prioritize double teaming Hutch and Reader. Liam's going to be the one running free doing damage.
Really, yeah, when he got hurt, that was a big deal, and I don't think people appreciated that. He's a really, really, really talented player. I agree.
What do you think of Jack Campbell? I feel like DJ Reader's going to help him flourish a little bit here too. Obviously, second year for him as well. Is there hope that he could look like the first rounder he was drafted to be?
Yeah, I did not love his tape last season, to be honest. So I guess this is where we get to the negative part, right? Yeah, no, I mean, just to be honest, like I didn't think he had a great rookie year, but I think it's worth mentioning very few off-ball linebackers seem to do well when they come into the NFL these days. And I think a lot of that has to do because of offensive coordinators like Ben Johnson, who really isolate them and make their lives hell. It's very hard to play linebacker right now in the NFL because of all the motions and the RPO-centric offenses and everything that offensive coordinators do on that front. there's very few examples of guys who have come in and played that position at a high level early. So I think to answer your question, I think the hope is like, this is a very hard position, and year 2, you're going to make a step because of that experience and the mental adjustment and that development curve, which is, again, something we just see across the NFL right now at that position.
And you mentioned the second edge rusher to go opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. At the trade deadline last year, being easy, we got upset a little bit when we saw Chase Young go to the 49ers instead of the Lions, and our chat did not like that as much. But how I see it now is the Lions, we're at the big boy table. We are a top 4 team in the NFL as of last year. I think they're going to go all in and make one of those deadline deals to improve that defensive front. Do you see something like that happening at the deadline?
It's plausible. I think they're going to really see, okay, how improved are we on the back end, right? How much is the reader, how much of an impact do you have there? But really, like, what kind of player are we getting from the secondary will go a long way towards determining whether they feel, I wouldn't call it desperation, but that sort of like, desire to be opportunistic at the deadline when it comes to the pass rush. They are a team that does have and should have championship aspirations. And that would be a position I would target. The other one, though, depending on what happens with Jameson, is wide receiver. I still feel like is an area that they could add just to be more complete in the passing attack. But for me, for both of those positions, I really feel like it's going to be wait and see to see what kind of contributions you get early on.
You talk about, possibly getting to the negative stuff, and I don't necessarily see this as negative more than it is truth. I've caught a lot of flack recently because I placed Jordan Love as a starting quarterback on my all NFC North team. Where are you at with the Jordan Love versus Jared Goff debate?
I mean, come on, you guys. We watched on Thanksgiving. Let's be real. Like, you gotta be honest. And like, the Lions are a better team. I'm looking at my power rankings. I have them over the Packers. So I just want to say, this is like, we're being
just calm down.
Thursday. Like, you got to be, you can't just be all sunshine and roses and pandering, and it would be lying to pretend like Jared Love didn't ball out in the second half of last season. I know it was just half a season, but that was a very young receiving group, which I think kind of explains in part some of the adjustment period early on. He's, to me right now, the best quarterback in the division. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC, the NFL, and that sucks, right? Because it's like, God damn it, how'd they do it again? That sucks. That's got to be so infuriating as an NFC North fan. Yeah. But the good news for you is you have a ton of other pieces in place that are not only going to be good this year, but are going to be good for a long time. This team was built in the trenches. It was built extremely well, and you have a head coach and GM that appear to be amongst the NFL's best.
Bino, we appreciate you so much for joining us and I know you have a very busy schedule and breaking off some of that time to share with us. Before we let you go, Dan Campbell, he is the face of this team, honestly. He is a media darling. I wanted to know if you had a specific Campbellism that is your favorite or something that he's done out of all of his quotables that you like more than the rest.
Two things I love I'll come to mind. I love that he has 2 teacup Yorkies. I saw that photo with him. I was like, yeah, like whatever, like this is like a green flag. This is a confident man. He is not embarrassed of his 2 tiny dogs that he'll perch on his shoulder. But the other thing is, like, I mentioned this. I did a top 10 coaches pod, and he finished in the top 10 for both of our rankings. I had Kevin Clark on, and I talked about this a little bit then. It's with a head coach, sometimes it can be like hard to pinpoint, especially if they're not the play caller. What is he doing? And I think with Campbell, it's very easy because he's obviously established a culture, the way people talk about him. It makes it very obvious the impact that he has on the organization. But something that I really loved last year, the Lions drew some criticism for the aggression. And I know sometimes with people like me who like using analytics, we can be, people are like, you just love everyone who goes for 4th down. That's not true. It's there, it really comes down to like situation, but also I love it when it's obvious that it's the coach not only knows why they're doing it, he sticks to his guns, but he gets organizational buy-in. I think it was after, I don't know if it was after, and it was, I don't think it was after the playoff loss. I think it was after the famous did not report game where
Ouch.
I know, sorry, but I think it was Alex Anzalone who wrote a piece or something about it. And he was like, he was like, yeah, we've gotten some criticism for, going for it or going for whatever. And he was like, dude, this is who we are. This is who we've been. This is how we got here. Like, we're not changing now. And I love that, because what that told me was like, oh, this is not just a coach coming down from on high and saying, oh, I'm going to do this now. It's a coach who has instilled a belief in his process across the entire team. And if that's not leadership, I don't know what is.
Mina, again, I appreciate you taking the time. Guys, if you haven't checked it out already, it's the Mina Kynes Show featuring Lenny. There's always a little pun in there every time that begins. Top 10 defenses this week. What do you guys got coming out next week?
Hey, great job by the heavies. I love that interview. Mina Kynes, one of my favorites. I even like her more now, even though she said some things that us Lion fans are not going to like. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about what Mina loves about the Lions and what she loves about Jordan Love.
Hey.
Keep it right here on Woodward Sports. Pete, what do you got, my man?
Well, we have Wake Up Woodward. That's what we have. We have Wake Up Woodward every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. right here on Woodward Sports. You can join Kool-Aid, Flannel Sam, Matthew Broder, JB, and Kenny G again every Monday through Friday, 8 to 10 a.m. mornings right here on Detroit's numero uno sports station, and that is Woodward Sports. Also, what happens when you see that black and yellow sign out in front of your house that tells the bad guys one thing?
Stay out!
That's right. Thank you, Anson. It is a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts, 24/7 professional monitoring, and technology backed by people. That technology has been proven to work, and those people have been proven to care. So call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call them today. Tell them Woodward Sports sent you. We'll be right back.
You stay out.
Thank you to the Detroit Lions and Sheila Ham for the best season in Lions history. Now it's time to let Brad Holmes cook. Woodward Sports.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
You smell that? That's Brad Holmes cooking, and the off-season smells good. Woodward Sports.
Yo, let me just say, I love Planet Fitness.
Trying out Planet Fitness, and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Listen, the PF Black Card is worth every penny for this hydro massage. I'm a new man.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home?
Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
All the benefits, all for less. Planet Fitness, big fitness energy for all.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, well, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. 10-plus years of experience, 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on the screen or call them at 248-971-0476. Make sure you tell them Woodward Sports sent you. KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they have your back. That's right. And so does Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza taking over Michigan. They had a grand opening today in Madison Heights, known for their quality hand-battered and hand-breaded chicken tenders, sandwiches, and New York-style pizza. Locations popping up all over Detroit. We have one right down here on Woodward. Doubling the number of restaurants this year. Soroki's just had their grand opening, as I told you, in Madison Heights. Be sure to stop in and try a mega station near you. Or go to www.sorokis.com. That's sorokis.com. I can tell you guys, it is honestly,
biscuits.
They're fantastic.
The biscuits.
The chicken is fantastic. The biscuits are even better than that. The fountain sodas, off the hook. Love the fountain
food's
sodas.
chronic, but I just can't let that go by without mentioning those honey biscuits each and every darn time.
Make sure you get down there.
2 days. That ass. And it was so good.
So good.
Everything each day, too. They got the versatility.
They do. You walk in there, they got salads, they got anything you want.
As you
anything
young folk
you
would
want.
say, on God.
That's it, man. Hey, welcome back to Woodward Sports. It's Maz and Anson in the house today. We got Joel, Justin, and Pete here as well. We just heard from Mina Kimes. She was with the Heavies last night. Great job, boys.
Smiles
I'm proud of you. I'm
all
like
around on that
like a proud
interview.
papa right now. Not only do we love to watch Mina Kimes on ESPN, I thought she was even better with you guys. And the only thing I didn't like, I do like this guy, but I don't like him as the top guy. She loves herself some Jordan Love. Did you hear her?
That was Easy's fault.
Not only is he the number one quarterback in the NFC North, she said, but he is a top quarterback in the NFC and NFL. She loves those Packers.
Based on a half season. I mean, I like him as a top 10 guy. There's like 3 guys I'd rather have running the Lions offense. And you can blame Ben Johnson. You can blame, Dan and everybody else that's put these players together. The fact is this offense is catered to and works around Jared Goff, who is our quarterback. Jared Goff. People here, Detroit fans will never be happy, even if they had Tom Brady for the last 15 or 20 years.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I truly do know about that. This is Detroit, where no quarterback is safe. Even with him doing something that nobody else had ever done and winning 2 playoff games, people are still trying to compare him to a guy who had a half of a season.
Well, she's supposedly an NFL expert.
She
is on the mothership. She's on ESPN. I know ESPN isn't what it used to be, but it's still a primetime network. We all tune into it. We might be mad at it a lot, but we tune into it. It's the first channel I put on, that and MLB Network. Those are my 2 go-tos. Nothing's on there, then I'll start searching around or go to the app and watch a baseball game. But she's on there. There's a lot of talent on that station. Dan Orlovsky is one of those guys. He's in the Lions corner. But I don't know, for some reason, she believes that Jordan Love possesses more of the talents than a lot of these quarterbacks in the NFC. And I'll tell you, if you gave me a choice right now, this is going to be a tough one. If you gave me a choice, I'm going to give you guys a choice. I'm not going to say anything. If I gave you guys a choice, go around the room. I'll give you Jordan Love this year or Jared Goff for the Lions offense. Who do you want?
For me, that's just a really, really easy answer. It's our general, the guy that's done it, the guy that's won 2 playoff games, the guy that's come here, leaving the adversity he faced in LA to face brand new adversity here in Detroit with his bodyguards in downtown Birmingham.
Yes.
And this guy took a very bad team to a mediocre team to a slightly better than 500 team to the NFC Championship. Jordan Love hasn't done that. Jordan Love's been waiting in the wings. He had a great first year as a starter, tremendous second half as a starter, but this is a team that's ready to win a championship in Detroit, and you need a guy that has experience. Sure, Jordan Love's faster. He's a little more athletic, and he's younger. But when you take this Lions team where they are right now, I'll take Patty Mahomes over Goff, but there's
I
not
didn't
too
give you
many
that
others.
choice. I didn't give you that choice.
No, that's what I'm saying. There's just really no guys.
So you're sticking with Jared. That's fine.
I mean, who would you take over Jared Goff in this not named Pat Mahomes? Would you really replace him with any quarterback?
She would take Love. She would take Jordan
for
Love.
the next 8 years versus Goff's next 3. But for this season, just 2024, I can't name anybody. I mean, realistically, who would you rather have running this offense in the league not named Pat Mahomes?
Joe Burrow.
Well, yeah.
Coming back off injury?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Rusty?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean,
how about Jalen Hurts?
For 1 year, we're not talking about his career. They're a year separated, right? They've both been to the big game. They've lost. Joe Burrow is still operating off of his days at LSU. The guy takes his team pretty early on, but otherwise he's faced mostly failure and injury. Jared Goff is the guy right now here. Okay, Joe Burrow, it's a great guy, but who would you, aside from those two?
No, I would say Joe Burrow hasn't really
Jalen
failed
Hurts.
much, yeah.
Okay.
He'd be another guy I'd look at. I mean,
Look at the company we're putting Jared Goff in.
I'm not taking,
in terms of this
I'm not
offense,
taking
though,
Dak
I would take
Prescott
Jared
over.
Goff. But
My man.
in terms of this offense, I'd take Jared Goff, but I have Jalen Hurts higher on a quarterback list, to be honest.
Sure. Starting a flag football game, he's high.
Well, let's not talk about that. Mina Kimes said she likes Jordan Love. She thinks he's the best in the NFC North. What say you, Justin?
I disagree, especially for this year, specifically this year when the tape's now out on Jordan Love. They've had a year to literally nitpick whatever they want out of that film to try to find any sort of weakness for him. Jared Goff's a proven veteran. He has run this offense for 2 years now. He has only gotten better, and the numbers show that as well. And he's got more weapons. Development of Jameson Williams should definitely catapult this offense as well. I'd 100% take Jared Goff if it was for the Detroit Lions,
Right.
100%.
Okay, Pete, your choice. You got Goff or Love to run this Lions offense with Ben Johnson.
Yeah, well, Ben Johnson could run any quarterback, but my point is, has Jordan Love been to a Super Bowl? No. Has he been to an NFC Championship game? No. I want the guy who's a proven commodity, and that's Jared Goff, and Jared Goff is the guy right now, and I don't see any problem with having Goff throw the ball. Does Jordan Love have a spectacular, wonderful, upside to a great career upcoming? Absolutely. He does, but he does not have. I don't think the Packers overall as a team are exactly where the Lions are.
How about you, Joel?
See, I would say with the Jordan Love debate, I'm a little jaded a little bit because I had him on my I don't know why it's that loud. It sound good now. Yeah, I had him on my fantasy team, so I was telling my one friend, like, at the first half where he was terrible, I'm like, Jordan Love not bad. I'm like, he putting up the stats. I'm like, he just got to cut down the interceptions. He cut down the interceptions, and then it looked like he was just so great. But I would say based off the half season, like Justin said, it was like at first you could tell that like teams didn't really know how to defend him. Like they weren't knowing, like they didn't really have too much film out on him yet. He didn't really play a whole year yet. So now that I feel that teams are going to have that film out, I think you could see, like, even though it's not technically a sophomore year, you could see, like, kind of that sophomore slumpers. But in the debate of who I would take over Jared Goff and Jordan Love, for this team, I would say you're not wrong going with either or.
Right.
The skill set, like.
Well, she's not saying Goff is bad. She's saying Goff is good.
Saying, yeah,
and I'm saying Goff is good, too, obviously. I love Jared Goff. But if you're giving me a choice between him and Love, I'm going to take Love.
Yeah,
right now, I am.
Love is a sexier pick for the fact that he runs, he makes some of those crazier throws that you see like an Aaron Rodgers do, because that's kind of like his protege. So
and it's a moot point. For that reason. It ain't going to happen. It's a moot point. We have Goff. They have Love. He's going to get a contract. He's going to be in Green Bay a long time. They've hit on Brett Favre. They've hit on Aaron Rodgers. And now they've hit on Jordan Love. It's honestly, you'll never, ever see that again. That is a freaking amazing.
It really is.
To have Montana and Young was amazing. To have 3 in a row, that's unheard of. It's unheard of.
Jeff Garcia followed that up. He was not bad.
No,
either.
he wasn't bad, but he's not this.
No, certainly not. But again, we are really crowning Jordan Love based on a half season. Everybody last offseason pretty much wrote this guy off. I mean, I picked him up off of waivers in both my dynasty leagues. So the people that are saying that they've been loving Jordan, they are absolutely full of it, okay? The same guys, Easy wasn't talking about him in September. Easy wasn't talking about him in October, all right? In fact, I was in this same studio talking to everybody and how we were going to go undefeated in the NFC North. Come on, guys, wake up, all right? This is the NFC North. It's a black and blue division. This team in the Packers, they're going to win games. And this guy is a great young guy, but you're basically crowning. Somebody said it in here. People love to crown the young quarterbacks in this league. But the realization of what has Jalen Hurts done? He hasn't done much. He hasn't done anything more than Jared Goff has done.
Of course not.
Burrow hasn't done anything more than Jared Goff has done.
Hasn't.
All of these guys on the list, Lamar Jackson, all of them.
All right.
Now listen.
Lamar has not got anywhere near where Jared Goff has in the playoffs.
Not even close.
He's been there many times.
To lose.
But, okay, has Lamar made the big game?
No.
Okay. So what I'm talking about is...
Because you can't make it there.
What's he have, one playoff win?
Where do these guys go in their careers? And that's how you have to judge them. You can talk about a guy with all kinds of talent in the world, Fran Tarkenton, whoever you want to talk about, but until they get their rings and take their team as a team to the promised land, you're just talking about talent and ceiling, which really doesn't matter at the end of their careers, okay? This guy has done every single thing that everybody else on this list that we compare him to has, aside from Patty Mahomes. So for me right now, why people are wanting to ditch the guy that has dragged this team and franchise out of the mud and delivered two playoff wins, and you want to trade him for some slightly younger version that you see as more upside that you weren't even talking about in October, is just more Detroit quarterback hate. Love the one you got, okay?
See, I would
it's a
say,
song, guys.
Go ahead, Joel.
I was talking about Jordan Love early in the year because, like I said, his mechanics, when I was looking at him, like, I guess I'm playing devil's advocate right now. So when I was looking at him, he had great mechanics, all that. He just turned the ball over way too much. So I would say if he doesn't turn the ball over as much as he did in the first half of this year or last season, and then plays the exact way he did the second half, no doubt he's going to be better than you would look back at that and be like, I would have rather had Jordan Love than Jared Goff. But for judging off what we judging right now, like you said, potential is like, we're going off just potential of Jordan Love right now. So you can't really put him higher based off just potential. So going off gameplay, but I would have to say we need to see this for another year of Jordan Love. So right now it's unfair to both of them actually to like judge it off Jordan Love's good half season and then Jared Goff being about to go into his like 8th year right now. So
hey, I'm happy we got Goff, and he just continues to prove people wrong. And I want to write his story. I want to write it right out with him. He just got married this year. I'm so happy for him. He got paid, second big contract now. He was a former #1 overall pick, like Matt Stafford was. I want to see this guy take the Lions to the promised land and win it. And that's the perfect storybook. And he'd be the greatest quarterback in Lions history. He already is the greatest quarterback in Lions history right there with Matthew Stafford. I know he's ahead of him with the playoff wins. So
and a hotter wife.
Better things to come, man.
He's got a hotter wife too.
He does.
He does. Slam dunk.
He does. Speaking of,
listen, wait.
Speaking of Matthew Stafford's wife,
we'll go there. But last point: what is the difference between Hendon Hooker right now and Jordan Love a year and a half ago? Okay.
Well, we don't know anything about him.
Exactly. So why is everybody crowning this kid off of 6 months?
They're the same age.
He got his team to the playoffs and he won.
Sure,
Jordan Love had
season, guys, but nobody thinks anything of Hendon Hooker right now. Nobody thought anything.
You love
Jordan
Hendon
Love
Hooker,
a year
don't
and a
you?
half ago. No,
you
I'm
just
saying
love
that
Hendon Hooker.
They're exactly in the same position.
No,
he's
they're
in the
not.
same position that Jordan was 3 years ago.
They're not in the exact same position.
That Jordan was 3 years ago. I'm saying.
Well, Jordan's still not as old as Hendon Hooker.
Is that right?
I'm almost positive that that's right.
I think they're the same age. I want to say, but yeah.
Anyway. It's okay.
Same age, 3 drafts later.
Yeah, let's face it, man. We got a quarterback for this team. He's the perfect guy for this team at this perfect time. Ben Johnson is here. He says he wants to take this all the way to the end. He sees the beautiful blue Caribbean ahead. You heard him. I want to be on this ride right to the end, and we're all on that ride with him. And this is the year for us, guys. It really, truly is. We are an elite team, finally. We're an NFL team here in Detroit. Yes, our Detroit Lions. Speaking of our Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford, obviously, he used to be here, as we know. His wife, Kelly.
Bye-bye.
She went on a podcast last week and said that she dated Matthew's backup at Georgia. Then she had to apologize to Joe Cox and his family. We all love the Joe Cox jokes.
No, she said she cheated on him.
No, she didn't say she cheated on him. She said she dated to make Matthew jealous. I don't know what you read, but that's exactly what happened. Now she's saying guys like us, or guys that are having an issue with her saying that she was dating Matthew's backup to make him jealous, she says we're all just insecure little boys.
Yeah, well,
because it bothers us. It shouldn't bother us.
And she's insecure because she needed that. She knew she needed that content to get people to pay attention to her podcast. Because no one was talking about your podcast until you talked about possible infidelity at the college level to make your man mad. It wasn't infidelity. So is this about insecurity of men or insecurity of the woman? I'm sorry, but I'm so tired of men being blamed for everything these days. This on you, Miss Stafford. Not us.
She didn't cheat on Matthew.
I've heard otherwise. The fact is she was interested in him. You don't mess with the dude's buddy or teammate when you're interested in somebody.
Okay.
That's female games. That's female insecurity. And that's spinning it on the dude because she got called out. And she rightfully should have. No love for the Staffords.
Let me go to my young
guys
staff
didn't know
here.
already.
Justin, you're up first. If you had a girl that you were trying to date, and you're in a frat, you're in a sorority, or not? You're in a frat. You're in college still, and your buddy lives on the same floor as you. You guys are teammates, and that girl dates your buddy. Are you? And then you go and you marry that girl later. Are you marrying her?
No, definitely not.
Are you done?
That would have dropped it right there.
It's over.
Yeah, as soon as she went to go date my teammate, we would have been done. There's no chance.
100.
It's absolutely crazy that even I love Matthew Stafford, but this story is wild. And also, I can't believe
But it's men's insecurity, right?
Yeah, but also I can't believe that she would go on air and admit this. You would have to waterboard me to get that information out of me if I did that. That is crazy.
But she didn't cheat, guys. This is dating. She wanted to make Matthew jealous because he wasn't asking her out or he wasn't doing the right
But
thing
she's playing
for her.
games. Anson hit it. She's playing games. She's looking for the end game, and she's trying to take advantage of Matthew
She wanted
Stafford.
somebody, and she was too insecure to get him, so she used the jealousy card, hopped on Pop, and said, look at me now. Do you want it or not? And I'm sorry, man, but I have a strict code. If I meet somebody through one of my boys, she off limits for life. All right?
Yeah.
That's not insecurity. That's man code. And this woman right here, like many, many women in her shoes who wants a high-profile guy, they are going to do whatever they can. Now, I don't care if you did that back then and you landed him, but to rehash it 15 to 20 years later, to drive people to your podcast, clearly you're insecure about your own content where you have to dig something up like this. Because I'm going to tell you what. Matt Stafford is going to hear about this every city he plays football in this next year. And if you think you're protecting your home base by leaking this stuff 15 years afterwards, let's talk about who's insecure, Miss Stafford.
And where's game one this year?
Stay out of Detroit, both you guys. We don't want you back. I know that
one?
Woodward loves you guys, and we do appreciate your charity here, but you guys are just a mess. I'm so much happier to have the Goffs here because Jared Goff is my quarterback, and Matt Stafford never will be ever again.
I'll be booing Kelly on opening night.
Yeah, I'm booing them all. Save the kids.
I'm booing the kids, man.
Save the kids.
Leave the kids alone.
Boo the
Joel,
kids.
how about you, man? Same situation.
Yeah,
What's up?
Man, that's crazy.
Are you insecure?
If that's what made me insecure, then I'm very insecure. Because I'm really, like Anson said, I don't really want to talk to a girl that my friend has already dated.
Now, see, I'd be honest with you. This is the truth.
Jersey chaser.
I wouldn't have cared. Honest to God. I would not have cared.
What if you were the quarterback? What if you're the quarterback and the captain?
If I loved that girl, and if I thought I wanted that girl to be my wife, and she had, you can't. If you marry a woman, you think she's the only guy you think you're the only guy she's ever been with?
On my team,
about knowing. Like,
on my team, I should sure hope so. Do you think she told him
Can
that?
you stop yelling?
No, because I'm mad. I'm mad at
Are
the
you
Staffords.
insecure?
No, I'm not insecure, but I've been hearing this story all week, and just the fact that she dug it up from her archives to drop on her show, which is going to impact.
It wasn't even her
Stafford.
show. She was on someone
Even
else's
more so,
podcast.
even more so.
She was just talking girl talk with the guy. It was just girl talk.
I hope it blew
now,
up
listen,
in her face.
I grew up with 4 sisters. I have 3 daughters. I've had no men in my life beside my dad and my dog Jeter. That's it.
And us.
Shout out Jeter.
And you guys. You guys are my family, my boy family. But it don't bother me what she said. She was just talking. Now.
Nah, that's personal shit. She was airing that out. That's not okay.
She probably should. She shouldn't have said it. If she didn't say it, and let's say you guys are Matt Stafford. If she didn't say it, you married her. You already forgave her. You already forgave her, but she should not have aired that laundry.
No,
she shouldn't have.
That was private shit, and now it's not even gonna affect. It doesn't even affect her at all. Like, she's the one who said it, and all it's gonna affect is Matthew Stafford. That's who it's gonna affect.
That's right.
He's the one who's gonna be in those NFL stadiums. He's the one who's gonna hear the relentless chirping from opposing teams. It's not gonna be her. She can just stay at home if she wants. She can just sit in her mansion, just like, oh wow, life is so great. I'm married to Matthew Stafford. I almost cheated on him in college. Yeah. Well, you look like a dumbass now, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
It's okay.
My question is,
You had 2 swears in that
I
one, by
want
the
to
way.
know what Bizarro World Maz would think of this. You know,
Go ahead.
Bizarro World Maz, where he has only boys,
Yes.
sons.
I don't even know if I can handle that.
I'm telling you, listen.
He doesn't even have the name.
This reeks, man, because we don't really know what she did. Dating is synonymous with other
That's
things.
fine.
You
I'm
know what
sorry,
she
but
meant when she said
anybody
dating.
but somebody on my roster. Period. Not on the roster, babe.
No, that's the point I'm getting at.
Jersey
Like,
chaser.
I can see, like, I get your point, man. It's like, when you get with a woman, you're not gonna be the only man she's
Right.
ever been with. But it's more so the point of knowing who the man is, and the fact that she did it to make you jealous. It's like,
But Matthew fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. He followed her out of the
he was
dorm
young and dumb.
when she left. Joe Cox or his friend or whatever the hell he was, wasn't Joe Cox, whoever it was, she's leaving. He followed her, got in her car, and said, "You can't be with that guy. He's not right for you." And she's like, "Well, you're not asking me out." And he did. And the rest is history.
See, like, is that a woman you want to marry, though? That
Well, he did.
What was his last name?
What
was his last name?
Or being,
Stafford.
her husband. That's what I'm
No,
saying.
the other guy.
No, it wasn't him.
Oh, okay.
She came. You didn't hear that?
So
she came out and apologized to Joe Cox and his family for having his name dragged through the mud when it was not him.
But she didn't apologize to Matt?
No, because I guess you
Because
don't.
she probably should have been apologizing to him. I mean, I heard that this is my initial hearing of this whole situation, was that it was while they were together and that she did sleep with him, which she has since corrected to say date. But we all know what dating leads to.
Especially in
this
college.
is just something you keep in-house.
That's fine.
How desperate are you for people to turn into whatever podcast you're on to drag your
Clout is a
husband
drug.
and family? Because guess what? This is a conversation for their kids in 5 to 10 years as well.
Oh yeah.
Silly.
They talking about Matthew
Silly.
Stafford is a simp
They
and a
just
stalker.
embarrass themselves.
Yeah, he's gonna take some abuse from the guys. There's no question about it. You know what? He'll handle it like he always handles everything
And
else.
his first game is
next
here.
trip to Detroit.
And his first game is here.
Yeah, his first game is here. It's a good.
Yeah, he's gonna be so happy to be
Forgot
here.
about that.
Yeah.
Wow, that is a tough spot, huh?
Yeah,
Oh, I
mean,
can't wait.
That is a
They-
tough
the
spot.
two of them
that's a
deserve everything
Hollywood.
that they're
You know,
getting
you
now.
talk about Hollywood endings. This is a Hollywood beginning.
Wow. Woodward Sports should be all over that Ford field.
Yes.
They should be all over that shuffleboard
Yeah,
court.
all over
shouldn't
that
they?
shuffleboard court.
No question. Hey, I want to talk about, we got a couple more NFL notes before we leave. Did you guys happen to see the Chargers' new practice facility?
No,
Have
I
you guys
did
even
not.
taken a look at this?
Pretty
They
nice.
call it the Bolt. Pete, show the people.
This is the Bolt. We went through 7 years of looking for sites and looking for opportunities. Without further ado, let's get going and go see the Bolt.
I'm trying to eat some.
Jim Harbaugh knew what he was doing, man, when he went to this team. They got some money to spend, and they got some players that they're going to have to develop. Jim Harbaugh is rebuilding this team in the way he likes to play football. Joe Alt, the number 1 pick there.
Love that pick.
I believe good things happen to the Chargers within 2 years.
100%.
I don't think it happens this year.
I said 2.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I don't think that it happens this year. I think, in fact, they're probably battling the Raiders for the bottom of their division. They've got a really bad fan base. They haven't been able to maintain them.
They should have stayed in San Diego.
There's a lot of challenges there. I mean, it's a beautiful facility, don't get me wrong. If he builds this thing the way that he built Michigan over the last few years with the mauling offensive line first, they can change.
He brought his strength and conditioning coach over with him. That's how you do it.
I don't believe in Justin Herbert.
You don't?
No, I really don't.
I got a great piece of audio for you.
Justin Herbert?
I just think that he is not a top 10 quarterback, and he's anointed heavily right now. I don't know who he's going to throw the rock to. Palmer's a nice 2. McConkey's a nice, slot guy maybe. Johnston looked pretty useless. They don't have a tight end game. They've got 4 or 5 pretty washed up running backs. It's going to be a tough first year there for him, but he's not unused to that. I think that he can overcome that.
Now, you don't like him.
No,
but his coaches do. Listen to this on Justin.
Let's do it.
I love just sitting there and listening to each guy kind of orchestrate the cadences and the difference between them. Justin's like brilliant.
I know. What I want to ask him is, how does he learn
this? Yeah, how?
He's had 3 different systems
Yeah.
over the last 3. This is his 3rd system in 3 years.
I know. It's unbelievable.
And he just has not flinched. It's not, Greg, give me that again.
Not at all. Dude, I'm telling you.
It's unreal.
Yeah, he's got that thing inside of him that's telling whoever, like, I got this down cold, if you haven't noticed.
No, if you haven't noticed.
Well, he's pretty smart. It's his 3rd system he's learning, and he knows it like he knows the English language already. And we all know football language is unbelievable. It's a completely different language. So Justin Herbert, the main reason that Jim Harbaugh took that job was because he had his J.J. McCarthy all ready for him.
Yeah, I'd put him and Trevor Lawrence in the same breath. I think that both of those guys have the talent to overcome whatever personality flaw. I feel like, to me, they just remind me so much of an AFC Matt Stafford. Stafford's a gamer, always has been, and we're seeing his best years, obviously, in L.A., but he never really was able to galvanize his teammates. He never represented the Lions on the field. When you watch Aaron Rodgers for his entirety of his Packer career, the guy was politicking, whether it was his teammates, whether it was his opponents, whether it was the referees. He had a real impact on the field beyond just what his arm and legs could do. I see the same type of deficiency when it comes to your presence on the field. Those 3 guys in Stafford, Lawrence, and Herbert, all 3 of those guys have the arm talent. They have the talent to go on and win something. I just don't know if it's in their makeup in the first half of their careers to be able to take a team from where they are to where they need to be. Stafford could never do it. He needed to go somewhere else. And I think that might be the same. He certainly did. And I think that both of those guys can too. But I don't think that this is the year for Herbert or Lawrence that everybody's been waiting for last year and the year beforehand.
Justin, you get the last word on Justin.
All right, yeah. Well, I counter that point with, so you believe that Stafford could do it. Is Stafford a top 10 quarterback for you? Because if you keep them in the same breath, I think that these 2 guys are right on the cusp of the top 10. And if they had good rosters around them this year, they would both be ascending. But the fact is that Justin Herbert's been stuck in a rebuild for like 3 years now. He's had 1 year of playoff football where he actually had a good team around him. And then Trevor Lawrence his coaching has just been all over the place. And you want to talk about, you always give me Lamar's never had any receivers. So keep that same energy with Justin Herbert. Keep that same energy with Trevor Lawrence. Keep that. Yeah, but he's
Austin Eckler.
He was hurt half the year.
Bones of
both
body.
of them were hurt half of the year.
So,
well, let him get the last word.
Sure.
You got to wait till Monday.
Injuries, bad coaching can be chalked up to both of them. and they both deserve to be at least around that top 10 nod. And if they actually had good rosters around them, they would be ascending into the 7-8 range. And honestly, and be fighting to be above Goff.
Great job today, fellas. All around, by the way. Before we leave, Justin and Joel, you guys got a podcast out every day. You guys, I see you guys in the back.
Yes,
working.
sir.
Why don't you tell the people about your podcast.
4:15 today in 15 minutes. We'll be in Studio B, Yin Yang Sports, me and Joel.
Yang.
Please tune in. I'll drop the link in chat. We're growing pretty quick. We already are almost to 70 subscribers. So
awesome, man.
Get us to 100.
You guys love talking, and you do a good job of it. Tune in, of course, here on Woodward. We got the heavyweights coming up next. They're on the road, and next week, Anson, you back again?
I am back a bunch next week.
Hey, next week is a holiday week, man. July 4th. Happy birthday to America. Thanks all around to everyone. Thanks for the chat. Sorry we couldn't get you on the phones. We'll try again next week. I promise we'll work it out. Thanks to Anson, to Joel, to Justin, of course, to Slippery Pete over there in the booth. I'm Maz. Stay tuned for the heavyweights right here on Woodward Sports. Have a great weekend.